What's happening, guys? Happy Thursday to you. It's Thursday, June 24th, 2021. And man, we haven't done one of these in a long time. This morning, we're going to do a little episode of Ask Me Anything. I get a lot of questions on a regular basis, but sometimes I get more than others. And so when I do get a lot of questions, I will typically do one of these episodes, kick it off with a few of the questions that I haven't answered back to people with yet, and then give you guys an opportunity to ask anything that might be on your mind. So let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, what's happening, guys? Good morning to you and happy Thursday. It has been a minute since we've done an episode of Ask Me Anything, so I figured I've been getting a lot of questions recently. I think it's related to the content and things that we've been putting out and some of the videos that we've been sharing, and so that's kind of, just sparking people's interest or, causing people to have few more questions than normal. So I figured, man, it might be a good time for us to do an episode of Ask Me Anything. So I've got a couple questions here that people have submitted to me via DM and a few other ways. A couple questions came in through my website. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, realbrianhess.com. It's fairly new. We continue to evolve it. There'll be some new stuff coming up on there here in the next few weeks as well. But I figured it'd be a good morning for us to do an episode of Ask Me Anything. And I wanted to kick it off here with a few questions that people have already submitted. And then if you guys have any questions at all, just drop them in the comments here and I will answer them live here this morning. But first, as usual, I want to say good morning to some folks. Daniel, good, man. I love this guy's always live with us here at 7:30. Well, I was a little late this morning, but 7:30 a.m. Daniel's always over there on YouTube. So you guys know this streams live on YouTube as well. So if you guys are ever over on YouTube, you can snag it live there as well. Dayton Packard, what's happening, brother? Hope you're enjoying Florida. Jared Bird, David Martin, Nadia, Michael Bonetto, what's happening, man? I owe you a call back, brother. I'll call you today. Carla, good morning to you. Trudy, Bill, Tammy, Cam, Todd, and Bob, good morning to you guys. Thank you guys for being here. So the number one question that I get lately, I've been getting it a lot, so I'm going to answer this one first. And again, if you guys have any questions that you want answered, just drop them in the comments. But the number one question that I get asked frequently is, how do I grow my social media? And so, it's a great question. It's a complex question to answer, but I'm going to try to do my best, to give you guys some tips this morning. Is the number one thing that I would tell you if you're looking to grow your social media or you're looking to grow relationships online is two things. So frequency, which, it's how often you're kind of in front of people, right? And how often you are communicating both directions. So not just putting out content, but also interacting with people, right? So you have to respond to comments. You have to go and interact on other people's posts. You can't just put out content. That doesn't work. That's not a real relationship. In real life, we would call that a one-way street relationship, right? So if you're looking to grow your social media, you're looking to grow relationships online, you have to treat social media just like you would treat real life, which means, it's a two-way street. You have to go look at what somebody else is doing. You have to be genuinely interested in that other person. You have to be able to interact with what they're doing as well as them interacting with you. And this is something that a lot of people miss, right? So if you guys show up here every single morning and you're consuming the content that I put out and you're watching what I'm doing, but I'm not ever interacting with you, or we don't have any kind of relationship, or I don't ever recognize the fact that you're here, then you're probably not going to stay around too long because you don't feel recognized. You don't feel part of something, right? And so I want you guys to think about that. If you really want to grow your social media following, obviously you have to have something to say. Obviously, you have to put out things that, help people or educate people or make an impact on people in some way, shape, or form. But at the same time, you have to be willing to actually build a real relationship with people. And you have to be willing to come to do everything that comes along with that. The number of DMs, the things that people tag you in, the things that come along with that. It requires some level of work and commitment. But what I will say to you is if you're looking to grow your social media, it's going to benefit you in every single aspect of your life. Personally, you're gonna have a greater feeling of fulfillment because you're gonna have a lot more relationships and a lot more friendships. And from a business perspective, you're gonna have a lot more opportunities, and you're gonna feel more connected to your customers and things like that. So from every aspect of your life, if you are looking to grow your social media, it is frequency is number one and consistency is number two. You have to show up consistently as often as you can, right? So those two things combined are the challenge, right? Is the difficult part of it is, what do I say every day? What if I don't have anything to say? You always have something to say. You're using that as an excuse. If you really want to grow your social media, you have to find a way to be consistent, and you have to find a way to post and interact with a high level of frequency, because that's what is going to actually create the relationships that you're looking for. Hopefully that helps. And again, if you guys have any questions or follow-up questions to that or anything more specific, drop them in the comments. I've got a couple more questions here to go over, but if you guys have anything, let me know in the comments here. So the second question that I get all the time is, how do you balance your schedule? With all the different things that you have going on, how do you balance your schedule? And I will tell you guys, some weeks are easier than others. But what I will share with you is that you can do way more than what you think. And I've proven that to myself over a period of years by just continuously adding things to my plate and learning how to juggle more things than I did before, a little bit at a time, right? So a little bit at a time, you can continue to add things to your schedule, and you will figure out how to balance those things. There's a few things that stand out when it comes to the best weeks that I have. So the best times that I have to be able to balance everything, when things really feel like they're in a rhythm, it is being where your feet are. So, when I'm in the office, I am present and productive in the office. And when I am at home, I am present and productive with my kids and with my wife. So it's being where your feet are is the number one. And the second thing, and these aren't necessarily in order, by the way, is being intentional. So what I call playing offense instead of playing defense. So having a plan of what you're going to do every single day. And nobody that I know, by the way, gets this right all the time. I've asked this question of incredibly busy and incredibly successful people, and all of them continue to struggle with the same things, right? Because as you have a lot of things going on, it's very difficult to keep everything going consistently, right? You always feel like something's kind of falling off the plate. But when it comes to doing a lot of things and being able to handle doing a lot of things, I thought of this analogy a few weeks ago, and I'll share it with you guys. If you've ever seen somebody juggling, right? When they're juggling, there's people that juggle 10 balls probably. And so you look at that person, you're like, how do they do that, right? And you look back and you say, well, the way that they can juggle those 10 balls is that they started with 2. And then they added a third one. And then they added a fourth one. And then they added a fifth one. So it's consistent and persistent growth. They didn't just go out there with 10 balls and try to figure out how to do that, right? And so when you look at that in your own life, you say to yourself, what I have going on right now, what am I going to have going on in the future? And how can I learn to be able to do these things? And then, and the biggest thing is find mentorship, find somebody that you can ask how they do it. I have a systematic approach to how I kind of, operate every morning, and how I plan every single day, and then how I execute every single day. And I'm happy to share that with anybody, because it's taken me a long time to be able to figure out how to do all of this, what I will call semi-effectively. So, from that standpoint, couple tips is just, be where your feet are. Make sure that you're playing offense way more than you're playing defense, meaning have a plan for where you're going and what you're going to do that day, because life will get you, right? Life will throw you all kinds of curveballs and distractions, and you have to be prepared. And the only way that you can get back on track is if you have a plan of where you were going in the first place. So hopefully that helps on that question. All right, Cam Roberts, what is your vision 1 year from now, and what is it 5 years from now? That's a great question, man. 1 year from now, my goal is to have all of the things, going back to the schedule, have all of the things that I am doing, obviously be, bigger and more successful than they are, but to have them in more harmony, right? And so we've got some big goals at the Pavement Group to be in a bunch of different markets, so we've got kind of a 10-year plan and a 5-year plan. And so we've got a bunch of different markets mapped out that we're planning on opening offices in and being present in. And we've got some pretty significant revenue goals. So that is number one. For Top Contractor School and that side of things, kind of the coaching and mentorship side of things. I've got plans for additional events and things that we're trying to evolve into that I believe our industry needs. And, those will continue to evolve. I'll be honest, man, it is hard for me to think 5 years out, right? Like we've set some goals as a company. But what I've learned over the last couple of years is that, sometimes when we think 5 years out or 10 years out, most of the time we're not thinking big enough. And so I've had some challenges with setting those types of goals because I feel like I'm almost selling myself and everybody around me short by setting goals that are too far out. So I would say, at the Pavement Group, Cam, to hang kind of a goal out there is I would like to be double the size that we are now, which is a pretty significant goal in a year from now. And I think that, we're kind of on our way to getting there. Anybody that works here will tell you that we're moving pretty fast, and, we should have no problem doubling up what we do in 2021, in 2022. And so if we just keep working, we're going to expand our team. We're going to keep recasting the vision and recasting, kind of where we're going so that people understand and we can attract some of the best talent and we can continue to multiply that. And then again, on the Top Contractor School side, I think that many of the things that has evolved into have been requests from people, right? The programs that we've created and the events that we're starting to do, those have been requests from people within the group or people in the industry saying like, hey man, the industry really needs this. And so I've got a long list of things that people have shared with me that they think are missing from the industry. Many of them I 100% agree with. And so we've got a roadmap of how to do that. And I've got my advisors are actually coming to Pittsburgh here next month for the whole entire month of July to map out what the future looks like. So that's pretty exciting. And I hope that answers your question, man. But, from a goal setting standpoint, I think it's really important to continue casting that vision, man, continue expanding it and really revisiting your goals on a regular basis because, and I'm sure you feel like this too, Cam, like, you feel like you really sold yourself short on what your goals should have been. When you look back and see how far you've come, you probably sold yourself short on what it looks like even a year from now, let alone 5 years from now. So those are challenging goals to set. You really have to get really uncomfortable to be able to set a goal that is probably realistic. That's actually 5 years out. Right. All right. Bill, Brian, what is the action you take to have me time or self-care? Great question, man. So for me, I'll be honest. I don't think I do a good enough job of some of the areas of self-care. What I do believe I do a great job at is taking care of this. So, the mental, I don't do a good enough job of taking care of the physical, which I am actually headed out this morning to take a look at something that will fix that. So, but for me, man, I wake up early. And so that time in the morning that I spend kind of by myself. And, I've got a routine that I go through, gratitude and goals, and then, spending some time in prayer and spending some quiet time is what I call it. Some people might call it meditation. I don't necessarily meditate, but I spend a lot of time thinking, just me and my thoughts, no phone, no computer, no anything, and just trying to sort through the things that are going on, whether it be business related or with the family or, anything that's going on in my life. I think that for me, that self-care on the mental health side of things it really comes down to, spending enough quiet time with yourself to be able to sort things out and to be able to solve those problems. Really, all you need is you and what I refer to as your North Compass, right? And I think that many times we allow the chaos of life or the frequency of just, everything that's going on in the world to kind of provide us comfort to not deal with the things that we've got going on, right? And so those things end up continuing to be ignored and not solved. But if we can spend that quiet time, Bill, that helps me a ton be able to sort through some of the things and get real clarity on some of the things that I need to handle and some of the things that are going on around me and how to handle those, right? There's a million different ways to handle situations. Certainly we don't always get those right, but I think that the more time you take to be with your own thoughts and have some level of self-care, it really eliminates and melts away a lot of the issues and the anxieties and the things that we all experience from time to time. It's not a matter of if we will experience some level of anxiety or being anxious or worrying about something, but it's the amount of time that we actually spend in that space before we move on with a solution, before we take action in a direction of having a solution for that. So for me, man, it is the frequency and the quality of that quiet time that I spend that really helps me get clear on where I'm going. And I would also say, man, that faith is a huge part of that. When I think of self-care, I don't think anything is more powerful in my life than having faith. When I think about the path that God has set me on, I think, I can't possibly get that wrong if I'm doing the right things and I'm coming from a place of care and I'm coming from a place of, being honest, trying to do the right things and trying to take all of the things that I know from experience and putting them into action and trying to do the right thing by everybody around me. I think that, we can't go wrong on that path. And so my faith really grounds me in that area where, I don't worry too much about the decisions and what transpires as a result of those decisions. I put that in God's hands, and I just have faith that everything's going to work out. And to this point in my life, that's been a pretty good plan. So I think I'll continue down that path. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I hope that, answering those questions is probably a good way to kick off my Thursday. At least it gets a few things off my plate and hopefully gives you guys a good look into some of how I think, some of the things that I've got going on in my life. I hope you guys are enjoying the content that we've been putting out. We're recording content on a regular basis and then trying to put that out to give you guys a little bit of a look inside of, kind of how things function here at the Pavement Group, what we've got going on at Lead Revenue, what happens at Top Contractor School. You guys will see some clips coming from the event that we had in Fort Lauderdale. So I hope you guys are enjoying those. If you haven't seen them yet, they are on my Instagram. So on IGTV, there's a bunch of new content always coming out on YouTube. So if you guys aren't subscribed there, please do that. And then this page on Facebook that we're broadcasting from this morning also has those clips. So if you guys haven't done that, maybe go to the page, turn on the notifications or something like that, and you'll see a lot of those clips. What I try to share with you guys is, some of the things that I feel like I've been blessed enough to gain a lot of knowledge on. I try not to ever speak on something that I'm not comfortable or super experienced about, but, hopefully the content that we're sharing is helpful for you guys. And hopefully that will help somebody in some way, shape, or form. So, but I appreciate you guys being here with me this morning, and I will see you again tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m., same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. Love you guys. Thanks for being here.